Hi guys, my name is Borrodante, and welcome back to Eat Your Rats Jeremy. Oh yes, it's finally back. Jeremy is here to eat his meal. Now, it's been so long since the last time we were working on this. I have all kinds of changes in my technique and just the level, I think, a little bit. So, I don't know how exactly it will go now. I feel like I may change a few things, just at least about the way I render stuff. Not exactly sure what that means, but we'll see in the process. One thing I think that's gonna change, that I can tell right now, that any extra details that we'll be adding here, I won't be sketching. I don't sketch at all lately, I don't know. Like, everything works out just by painting it with my spot technique and whatever. So, yeah, let's see how that will turn out. For now, I actually remember a few of the comments that you guys made in the previous episode. We will make these backpacks even a bit bigger, because right now they are still small. In the picture, there will be kind of a shady portrait of the leader, where he's sitting and his head is kind of in the shadow, I guess. Something that's easily readable about what kind of character that is. So that'll work, I think. Especially in the sense that this is kind of maybe a dream scene, like a nightmare or whatever it is. That will make it look even better in a way that it looks kind of personal. Like, why would the portrait be in the shadow like that? But that's because it's actually creepy for you and it's looking at you. So right now, actually, what I want to do, what I want to start with, it's actually super late, and I shouldn't have started this episode right now. I will be continuing it tomorrow probably, because I really want to sleep, but I don't know, I wanted to start it right now. Also, I've just shaved my head. Not exactly shaved, like made it shorter by myself with a beard trimmer. I don't know why, I always do some stupid stuff with my hair, so this is like a beta version of what it's gonna look like. I think a lot of you guys will be happy about me not having long weird hair with a giant forehead, so there's that. Also, I'm gonna bleach it later. So yeah, the first thing I wanna do is I wanna add all the features that are still missing in color. Meaning the kids and the background playing, I'll add some spots at least to mark them in. That's what I do right now. I don't need a note, I don't need any kind of sketch. If I'm not sure what exactly they look like, I can just keep them as blurry spots, but I need to define them at least as an idea. So that's what I will do here. I will add the portrait content somewhat. I will add the details on the plates, on all of the plates, because right now if we turn off the sketch, there's nothing going on most of the plates. And whatever else, if there are any other details that are missing. Some dirt on the floor I see from the footsteps of other children. That's about it. I wonder what this episode will look like if you look all the episodes from the beginning in a row. But yeah, without further ado, enough jibber jabber, let's start. Okay, something like this for the portrait for now. Not sure if this kind of composition will survive. Maybe we should crop it to like this area without the hands. For now, let's keep it this way. It looks kind of creepy. I like it. But at the same time, the guy kind of looks like a news anchor or something. So fun fact, right now I'm not using my keyboard or even hotkeys on my tablet. I'm only using two of the side buttons. The bottom one is the color picking, choosing the color from everywhere, which is something I've been doing for a long time now, if you've been following. But I think actually only today I assigned the top side button to be the change size kind of thing. Because this is actually the two main values that I need from the keyboard usually, to pick up the color and to change the brush size. Two things that I do a lot. So right now they're all in the pen. And Control Z, undo, redo, doesn't really come in handy all that much lately with all the fuzzy technique. And when you work in one layer, like, if you painted something wrong, you just paint over it, whatever. No need to actually undo. So it actually kind of works out, and the fact that I can sit like this while painting or something, It's actually quite relaxing, I like it. So yeah, let's move on with the details right now. Let's add some stuff on the plate. I don't really think I need the sketch anymore. I'll keep it as a note. Okay, that's about it for today. I'm already dying. We'll go to bed, but you don't go anywhere. Right now, before bed, we did this. Quite a lot of work, actually, like all over the place. I basically tried to introduce all the color spots that are possibly gonna happen everywhere, and now we just need to increase the amount of details. But I still haven't gotten to many places where I should have added more high contrast shadows, like on the backpack, and this kid is basically just, I don't know, a pile of nothing. A lot more definition on the rats, on their tails especially, and I just marked in some of the remains, but they should look much better on other plates. Also added more plates on the sides, so it would look more like he's sitting, you know, being a part of a system, and there were other students next to him. So yeah, I introduced a whole bunch of color to the face. I remember I was going for a very happy and highly saturated shadowy gamma in the background, and very cold and dramatic, cruel kind of gamma in the foreground with the kid. Like, he lives in a separate reality, he knows. He looks at the whole situation very differently from everyone else. And I'm still going for it, but it doesn't mean we can't introduce some of the color, especially where the brightest spot of the light is. Because that's where light bounces around a lot, so it makes total sense to introduce some color. And the kid kinda looked dead before, so I think it kinda worked out. Added a bit of reflection from the light from the door. Added some more of it on the hand in here. So yeah, added reflection on the knife and fork. A whole bunch of colors and some of the details on the rats. Made this rat brown. Why not? Why were they all the same color? So one of them is brown, kind of like balancing out the brown sweater on this kind of side, and the red is on the other side, sort of, so it kind of looks more or less satisfying. So yeah, someone dropped a pen, someone dropped a sheet of paper, added some paper here, so little by little details coming along, looking kind of nice, I think. Generally quite nice. Added a little bit of this weird, this is actually new, like for me, to add this kind of random color as a sort of an air perspective. And in here as well, I'm adding a so-called sick yellow color. I read about it somewhere, like yellow color is a very strong color in a way of, as a tool of sending a message about what you're looking at. Yellow color is the color of telling the story. So when we're adding this kind of color, and it doesn't matter that it's like, it's kind of an artsy thing. It doesn't make any sense physically that it's going on there. It's just something we add completely out of nowhere just to make the picture look more like a painting. I don't know, I saw a bunch of artists doing some stuff like this and I'm experimenting with it. I think it kind of works out. It just starts to play in your eyes much better when you add some yellow colors here and there, just supporting the image. Yeah, like this stuff especially, it just looks so good supporting his face. We'll add a lot more, maybe tomorrow, maybe in the next episode, but yeah, this is where we're going for now. I'm not even done bringing the image to whatever I want to see, but yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen tomorrow for me. But yeah, I'm going to bed. See you in a second. Good morning. Actually, it's 7 p.m. I have a great sleep schedule again. So let's continue. Okay, looking good. Let's keep on jumping all over the place and see what happens, and then I'll talk about it. Okay, hi. It's been about half an hour. So I'm going all over the place. Mostly I spent time on the kid's face, specifically hair. A lot of changes in the window frame. The door. A little bit on the kid running out the door. So what I was doing, actually if you would watch this video at a very big distance or at a small size, you would barely see the difference. Because what I was actually doing, I was just pushing the loose spots that I defined way back into something more precise by just using a very tiny brush, and just basically, like, what I did was just grabbing colors and making the corners more precise, like this. And in the hair, I was just adding a whole bunch of tiny hairs, adding some extra more saturated colors. I was just grabbing this color, making it like this. When you just drag it horizontally, it makes it more saturated and, as a result, a bit darker. So it's really good for defining shadows where the hair is at its brightest. I'm adding this color, and this is like the color of a shadow where a lot of really bright hairs surrounding it. So it catches a lot of bouncing lights, so it becomes more saturated. So this is really a good color to define shadows at the brightest area. When we go darker, the shadows get less saturated, and we basically follow our idea of cooler gamma and whatnot. But in here, it's really appropriate and cool looking when you add a bit of a more saturated shadows. So I was using super tiny brushes, like this tiny, what is it, like about 8 to 10 pixels, and just defining all kinds of details. But remember one thing, that even when I'm using super tiny brushes, I still don't define any edges. I only define spots as I used to with the big loose spots like this, but just on a smaller scale. Basically, instead of defining this, I would be defining kind of like this. So basically, I'm still painting the same spots, but due to the fact that I'm using such a tiny brush, these spots can be super precise, just exactly the way I want them. I recently paid a lot of attention to the process that Ruan Jia has, and whenever he goes into details, he just uses a super tiny brush pretty fast. After he defined all of the main colors, like all the light and the surface colors are solved, after that he starts to define the shapes in a very precise nature, so you just get right to the result, you know? Properly defined colors and lights already are present. Now just define them to be precise shapes and you have your painting. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm really trying it almost for the first time to do it like this. I think it's working really well. It's been such a long time since I actually went into such tiny details as I'm going into right now. This is really tiny. Still having some of these repetitive spots from the old brush. This is the old strokes from way back when I haven't noticed that my brush was showing horrible steps all over the place. So yeah, after a while of working like this at this kind of zoom that I'm using, like basically seeing the whole composition and working on super tiny details at the same time, like if we want, and in this painting we do want, go even more precise, more highly defined on certain areas, at least on the face of the kid, on the rats, we'll do even more precise details. For that, we'll actually zoom in on the part. This is gonna be the first time where we'll actually zoom in and define things even better, sharper. But yeah, I kind of found it very cool, this idea of using a super tiny brush to still work with spots, with shapes, no edges or anything like that. So you still keep in mind the whole approach, but you just work in a higher precision. For that, you really have to practice the whole spot approach with the bigger brushes first to actually learn it and to never let it go out of your head, to always work like this, never go into defining just flat contours or something. So yeah, I'm gonna work a little bit more on the kids in the background and in the window, and then maybe a little bit on the rats as well. And what I think we're gonna do next, there will probably be a big stream of me finalizing the whole thing, and you guys will be able to see it in real time, and I will be able to zoom in and out a lot because it won't be all epileptic looking the way it does in time-lapsing. I always have to cut out little frames where I zoom in and out a lot. It's super annoying looking in time-lapse. So yeah, we'll be doing that, but for now, let's just go ahead and finish this episode. I'll try to drag all of the details to a certain level where it kind of looks almost finalized in what it is. And then, yeah, you guys just wait for the stream sometime soon, in a week maybe. Now we'll keep working. I'll start with fixing this kid's anatomy, the bottom part specifically, like he's missing something here obviously. And then we'll move on to the table, I suppose. I'll just turn back on my Max Richter soundtrack. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop now, cause it's been a while. Overall, it's been 4 hours of work in this episode. Spent a lot of time working on the hands of the kid instead of the plates, but I don't know, whatever, it's worth it. So we'll work on the plates more in the stream, I suppose. Kinda like the way this kid turned out to be right now. Added some definition to the face in just the right way. I think it works out pretty well. And I love the way I blended together the bottom of the feet with the floor, since there's just really dark colors working together. So that was a good place to lose the edge, the same way I did with the door in here. It kind of brings an awesome, expressive, impressive, whatever, feel to it. Maybe we'll add more of that later. I just came up with this idea. By the end of the video, it kind of looks really cool to do this, especially in the background. It kind of feels just about right to add this kind of effect. Barely touched the kids in the background. I think only one kid had some strokes to it. Made the head bigger on this kid, which is something you guys also recommended in the comments, I remember that. So yeah, this is what we have. Added a little bit of definition to the tails of the rats, some of the highlights. But yeah, this is it. I suppose this is the last episode of Eat Your Ass Jeremy before we switch to stream mode. So yeah, tell me guys what you think, if you have some ideas about what to change. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe, tell a friend. Be ready to catch my streams here on YouTube. I stream on YouTube. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye! Man, I love the way the hair evolved. Really looks nice. Nice.